we think of the ideal ladies' man and just overall gentleman, a lot of the times James Bond comes to mind, especially for me. And I was watching some of his videos, or excuse me, movies, and I remember seeing the No Time to Die in 2021. And it was cool because it was free. Don't ask me why. But I remember one scene in particular that stuck out to me, excuse me. And there was a scene, spoiler alert, that he was mad at a woman. I think it was his wife. And although he was mad at her, he still had some sort of moral code or like code with himself of how he treats women. He was mad at this chick for, I'm not going to give the plot away, but he still held her hand in a time of urgency. He didn't treat her bad. Of course, he was mad at her. And he still opened the car door for her. And I was like, wow, that takes a lot of like self discipline and composure to, even when you're mad at somebody, especially a woman, still be a gentleman. And I think that's a very valuable lesson that typically goes over a lot of people's heads because they just don't know. The average person doesn't know, oh, James Bond is, they can't comprehend it because it's just levels above them. It's like a foreign language. If you don't know Spanish and you try to read Spanish, you're like, what? But if somebody understands Spanish, then they understand it. Same thing. It's like a foreign language to most people. Anyways, that was one of the lessons. And another lesson was his very sustained speech. He always maintains eye contact. So I remember in Casino Royale, there's this scene. And of course, he has that kind of fun vibe. But he stays, his eloquence in his speech is just very consistent. And he's not nervous. There's no nervous cell in his body because obviously if you do something for a living where you get shot at and like all that stuff, I don't think a girl would scare you. And a lot of you guys don't do that, so that's why you're scared of girls. So lesson being, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not telling you to do that, but these are just some lessons that I want you guys to think about. And honestly, if you're a guy watching this video, I want you to watch a James Bond movie, either Casino Royale or No Time to Die or some of the old Sean Connery James Bond. Me personally, Daniel Craig was my James Bond. And I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn. We just have to look for them. We have to understand what they are. Because a lot of people just are ignorant to the language. It's foreign to them. They can't understand it at all. So I want you to start here and learn some lessons because I think movies are genuinely underrated. Like there's so many good movies if you write down notes from what they say, like it's game. And you kind of see how it works out. And of course, there's some Hollywood fake stuff, but there's some game. So those are some lessons that James Bond taught me. If you want me to teach you some lessons, well, check out my one-on-one mentorship. I've been doing this for years now. I'm getting this down, and I'm in a position now where I can help young men who want to improve their dating life with women.